How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about signatures. Not just signatures raw, but signatures pretty much in general, right? There is an opinion out there of people who don't necessarily understand what the appeal of getting signatures is. They don't really understand why people would want to wait in line and meet a creator and get a signature. I understand that some people would probably feel silly, like they would probably feel like it's, what is this, like creator worship or celebrity worship or something in those veins. And this video is gonna be like a show and tell format where I'm gonna show you guys a book and I'm gonna tell you guys the reasons why that book is signed, why that book is, slabbed and whatnot and everything. So people can kind of get a idea of what that thought process goes through. What is so appealing about these signatures on books and stuff like that. First thing I'm gonna tell you guys, I do not think that getting signatures is silly. There is one thing that I do feel makes me feel silly, and it's something that I used to do, and that's getting modern books slabbed, like for no reason other than it's a pretty cover, right? This is an Adam Hughes Electra cover. You can get this book raw, the trade dress, for cover price pretty much, if not maybe less. This is something that I used to do that I don't do anymore, just because I feel like it's silly, right? I feel like I was slabbing a print, you know what I mean? But one of the biggest reasons why I don't do it anymore is also too because CGC has grown aggressive with their fees, so it's made me be more prejudiced on the stuff that I want to get slabbed. But one of the biggest reasons why I don't do this anymore is because I run into a conundrum. And the conundrum or the problem is, let's say Adam Hughes is going to be here at Motor City, like right down the street from me or whatever. And I was like, hey, that's a great opportunity for me to get my Electra book signed. But here's the problem. It's already slabbed, right? So the idea comes from, do I crack it, right? Do I crack it and get him to sign it and resubmit it, do that all again or whatever? But there's no guarantees that it's going to come back a 9.8, right? Or I could also buy another raw book because this is cheap enough, so I can just go out and get a $5 book, get him to sign it that, and then submit it. But there's also no guarantees that that's going to be a 9.8. So now I will buy them slabbed already. Like if somebody's selling it for 30 bucks, shit, I'm getting a free book, right? Just because I would love to display this next to my Daredevil 168 or whatever her first appearance is. They just look great next to each other. So, but I will not create those slabs myself. I'm also going to be showing you guys right now examples of books that I do not plan on getting slabbed, and that's pretty much modern variants. Like this one, I won't get slabbed, even though it's a ratio. I just won't, I just leave it be. I never know when you're gonna run into James Tinian or run into George Jimenez or something and get this signed. And here's another one. Hold on, upside down. So this is Batman number 50. It's not a key issue, right? I won't get key issue. So if it's a key issue, I'll get it slabbed just because it's a key. But just because it's a pretty cover, I won't get it slabbed. But here's a one that's just a pretty cover. I mean, it is technically a key because it is the wedding, but that's not enough for me to get it slabbed. However, this is a book that's likely never gonna get slabbed because of the artist. I can't get the artist to sign this anymore. All right, so that's one of the big reasons. And I will say that people who don't agree with getting signatures, some people will say, well, who would you want to get a signature from? And sometimes people name like dead artists, like the artists who are no longer with us. And I get it, like the appeal that you want those things, but at the same time, I feel like that's kind of messed up, right? Because you're devaluing an artist's work because they're still alive. Like you're punishing someone for being alive. Like, you're not really appreciating that signature. You're not appreciating that work. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why I like to get books signed, is to support their work, to try to engage with creators and stuff like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. That's one of the big reasons. Trying to appreciate creators while they're still here, right? Because I would have loved to have gotten to meet like Bernie and Len Wein and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start off with Wonder Woman 66. All right. Beautiful Brian Boland cover. Love that spacesuit cover. And it's signed by William Messner Loebs, who is the author of this. I met him at Motor City. I think it was last year. Yep, last year. Might have been at Great Lakes. I'm not sure. But when somebody tells you, like the guys that I know, like a lot of them, notice that people who chase signature, a lot of them would prefer to get their signatures live because they want to meet the creators and they want to say hi to them, greet them, have that experience and stuff. And I agree with that. Like I love going to cons, especially like if a creator's like William Messner Loeb didn't have a line. And so I could stay there and chat with him for a little bit. And if you get a creator like him, that's just kind of a chatterbox, it's an amazing experience, right? I talked to him about the story. I was like, compared it, he obviously got some inspiration from Spartacus in space or whatever. But one thing I found interesting is that he said that a lot of people came for him. Like this was written in the 80s. So he says there was a lot of activism back then, and they came for him because when Diana came back to Earth, he put her to work at a Taco Bell place. So people were calling him misogynistic because he put her in a fast food restaurant or whatever. But he says what he was trying to do was he was trying to make her relatable to the common person, right? To the lower income people. And that's why he had her start at the bottom, and which is the way I took it when I read the story. So you get very interesting tidbits and you realize that there's like actual humans, because a lot of us here that create videos, we make reviews, nowadays it's like the Wild West out here. People are like super harsh on people and they forget that there's actually people on the other end, dude. There's people on the other end, and some things stick with them longer than others, you know what I mean? So I think that's something awesome to get to meet the people that create these books, and not necessarily a form of worship or fanboying or anything like that. So very cool. This was raw, so I got him to sign it, and I went ahead and submitted it. Didn't care what the grade was. That's why it's a 9.2. Just got a good grade on this one, so very cool. So here's an example of a book that was already Slab. Like I had said, like I'll pick up Slab books on the cheap if the price is right. And this one he signed for me up there, right? So very cool. Don't really care. Like I said, not really for sale. These are going into my collection. Love this cover. This is, I believe, Brian Boland's first cover on Wonder Woman. Might be my favorite. I know everybody loves the other one. I think it's like 71 or 70 or whatever, but this one's my favorite. So very cool. Again, I don't see a point in trying to crack it or whatever, because I wasn't trying to flip it or anything. So yeah, very cool. I really don't care about getting signature. I know some people get bent out of shape about that, but to me, the Slab is, it's a protection. It's like, do you care about a bag and board? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you care about top loader? Like, that's the way I see this. Like, this is for protection, right? If a book gets cracked, I don't really care because the Slab is doing its job. So that's the way I see it, right? What's really important is what's inside. And here's another example of that as well. So James Obar signed this one. Very cool dude. He's very stoic, very reserved, but he's got a lot of he's got a presence, you know what I mean? So very cool, one of the best stories ever. Awesome to get this signed by James Obar. And again, not really looking to sell this, not looking to sell it or anything. And the cool thing about these raw Slab signatures is that a lot of times they don't charge you anything for it. So if I was to sell this, obviously I would not charge for premium. Say, oh, signed by James Obar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would just be, hey, the Slab just happens to be signed by James Obar. And I think that's really cool. You know what I mean? Because can you imagine like going to someone's private library and then like pulling out a copy of like For Whom the Bells Toll, right? And then you open it up and it's signed by Ernest Hemingway. Isn't that cool? Like, that, to me, that would be cool, right? So the same thing, like if I bought a Slab and I just happened to be signed by it, freaking cool, man. No authentication needed. If the person's not charging me for the signature, they're not like charging me a premium for the signature. I just think it's cool. Is it authentic? Who knows, man? As long as you don't charge me like it is authentic. Just because these raw signatures don't cost anything, or at least they shouldn't. So this is an example. So this one is Aquaman number 49. This is an example of a book that I get it for the aesthetic. It looks really nice. I just love the signature placement on that. It's in white. So I wasn't really sure if he was going to, because I sent this one in. And I wasn't really too sure if I was going to get it in white. I requested in white, and it's always cool. This was back in the day when, I think this was like 2021. So a lot of artists I've noticed recently carry it multiple colors now. They're doing the Clayton Crane. I think Clayton Crane started that. But, you know, back then I think you had to request it, and it wasn't always 100%. I know some artists like Todd McFarlane, they don't care. like you put a request, but they probably have so much stuff to do. They probably don't have time to be fiddling with that. So, like I said, it enhances placement, color. It's just really cool. It just has like that feel of authenticity. Without this book is just like, it's just a cover book, right? Cover price book. But, you know, I think getting its signature, especially in live, and letting the person know like, hey, I really enjoy this cover. So that's an example of that. So this one also got sent in. Like I said, I prefer get my signatures live, but if there's like an artist I really like that's very difficult to get a hold of, for example, Joshua Middleton's from England, and they might make one con a year, but they might go to San Diego, New York, or something like that. So if I'll send in, I try not to send in books though. If I feel like I can get the signature at any con, then I'll just wait for that. Here's another example of another book that I sent in. This was my first sign-in event, in-house event for CGC. It was Adam Hughes. So just because Adam Hughes, I don't see him at a whole lot of cons. Like, I look at a lot of cons listings and stuff like that, and I haven't really seen his name listed online. And granted, there was COVID in between there, but when I saw this as an opportunity. I got a couple books sent in, got them signed by him. He honored the color and the color request, so that's really awesome. One of my favorite artists, so it's very cool to have this in the collection. Now, if Adam Hughes does end up going to a con near me, let's say for some reason he comes to Detroit next year or goes to Motor City or something, I have more Adam Hughes books that I can get him to sign as well. So very cool, very awesome thing. So the next book I have is Sandman Universe Nightmare Country #1. This is a 1 in 100 Jenny Frison variant. So this one was just kind of a no-brainer. This is a very high value book. Right out of the gate, got really hot, and it's pretty much stayed up there. So it was kind of a no-brainer, especially since I got the opportunity to get it signed by Jenny Frison. I mean, this is just one of those where, yeah, it just makes sense to bring up the value of a book, right? Because I did end up paying like $200 for this, pre-ordered it, and I was like, man, I think I paid up a lot of money for that. But I figured with the signature, I would stay safe because in the market, because if it comes down and stuff like that. So value is important when you do have a lot of money invested in something. Like $200 to me, that's a lot. So those other books that are just like dollar books or whatever, those are just like for my collection. Just love the art, and it's just more for the art. But this is one of those rare instances where value and art actually meet, right? The scarcity actually matches. The artificial scarcity actually matches the quality of the art, the value of the art. And I'm not trying to say like the other covers weren't cool. They just weren't cool as this, man, you know. Jenny Frison is an artist that I've seen her at a lot of cons, and she was actually in Michigan yesterday, and I actually got to meet her. So one reason I also get signatures like to get signatures is in person is because I feel like it's a good way to support creators directly, and it doesn't cost much, right? Of course, we would all love original art, we would all love a remark, but not everyone can afford that stuff, and those also take time. You know, Jenny Frison had a huge line at the comic shop I was at yesterday, Tardy's Comics. Shout out to them for putting that on, but it was all the way out to the parking lot. And so if everyone wanted a remark, she'd be there all day. Hand would be cramping and all that stuff. But a signature is an easy way to support that. And one thing that I really love about her is that 5 free signatures, and I enjoy that. I like that. I like that when artists, you know, give you at least a few free sigs, right? Raw signatures. I think that's awesome. Just because I feel like there's people out there that will take advantage of free signatures, man. But wait for her to raise money for. She was raising money for the Humane Society. So again, you know, you're contributing to a good cause. To getting a signature, you know, it's a good way to supporting artists and letting them know that you appreciate the stuff you do. So very cool getting to meet Jenny Frizen. And so anytime I see her, I always bringing in a couple books to get her stuff signed. So very appreciative of that. Sometimes, like I said, for the most part, I don't get older key issues signed, but I will get modern key issues signed because the artists or the writers are more readily available. So yeah, like if they're available, it just makes sense to kind of get it signed. So this is the full first appearance of Yada Floor. So this is signed by Joelle Jones and Jenny Frizen. They were both at C2E2 that year. So I was able to get, you know, hang in there and give both their signatures. So just to get that, that's really amazing. Really amazing to be able to get that. So again, it really enhances the book and stuff like that. So like again, it just depends on the book. Like not every signature is being done for monetary value, and not every book is also being done with just a PC thing in mind. All right, so the coolest signature in my collection, I did not get myself, all right? Because I probably would not be able to afford it if I was to be able to do myself. So this is an instance where I do not mind buying books, signed books off the market, right? If there's a signature that I think that I cannot get myself, or if I find it's a cheap deal, I'll go for it, right? So that's another reason why I think yellow labels are good, because what if somebody cannot get that, right? For example, like I've been able to meet Jenny Frizen at C2E2 because she lives in Chicago and stuff like that. But what if it's like people from out of countries and stuff like that that don't have access to these artists, you know, for them to have a safe way to buy a signature that's authenticated. So anyways, this is signed by Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen. I paid I think like $130 for this. Won it in the auction. Nobody really cared about it. And that is way less than just the signature of one person, right? Like Jason Momoa, I think by himself is like a $200 signature. So that is one reason why I really will buy a thing. And it's not necessarily celebrity worship, but it's just cool to have like an actor sign a variant comic book, and so it can go into the collection. For example, Black Manta is like my favorite villain, so this is a nice piece that would go in there, like to display with all my other Black Manta keys and all that stuff, you know what I mean? That's another thing too, like if I can get like an actor to sign like let's say I did have the opportunity to get Yahya Abdul-Mateen's signature, I would not get it on my Aquaman Silver Age 35. I would just get a variant, like a Black Manta variant, and I'll do that. I just prefer it that way, you know what I mean? So anyways, very cool signature, and it was a great deal. And like I said, that's another reason why I would pick up on something like this. It's just a really, really cool addition to like a collection. Like let's say you collect Venom, right? If you could have the opportunity to add a Tom Hardy piece to that, that's really awesome, you know what I mean? Or if let's say you have the first appearance of Iron Man, let's say you have the opportunity to add a Robert Downey signature, not necessarily on that first Iron Man, but on another book, right? Like it's just a fun, cool piece to add to your collection. Anyways, so that's it for my books. Hopefully the video is not too long. Hopefully you guys picked up something out of this, and you guys let me know what are some of the reasons you guys pick up signatures or chase signatures. that I didn't cover in this video, or you can also tell me why you don't like signatures. Maybe there's a reason that I didn't answer. Okay, so with that being said, you guys stay cool. All right, peace.